The human mind is the most powerful battlefield on earth. Modern politics is basically a 24/7 campaign to hack it, with hope, fear, distraction, and outright psychological operations all blended together. Welcome to God, Guns, and Dogs. I'm so glad you could join me this evening. Please like and subscribe. It really helps my algorithm and maybe gets this message out there a little bit more. Now I'm going to walk you through how governments and partisan machines run psyops, what MK Ultra really did, and 10 red flag signs you're looking at a psyop instead of an organic movement. You know, if you watch the news long enough, you start to realize they're not reporting on reality, they're installing it. The human mind is wired to cling to hope, avoid pain, and follow the herd. Psychologists have shown how our preferences can be shifted just by telling us what our group supposedly likes and dislikes. People literally rewire their own opinions just to match the tribe. Hope itself is a double-edged sword. In abusive relationships, one of the strongest tools for false hope: hurt you, love bomb you, promise it'll get better, then repeat. That cycle creates a powerful emotional leash that keeps the victim from walking away for years. Now scale that up from one toxic partner to an entire political system. This time we'll fix everything. Just give us more money, more power, more control. That's not just politics, folks. That's psychology. Psychology defines hope as your sense that you can find paths to your goals and that you have an agency to walk those paths. Real hope empowers you. False hope chains you. Controllers twist this by offering manufactured hope, carefully timed good news, partial reforms, symbolic victories, and slogans designed not to free you, but to keep you invested in a system that never actually changes who holds the power. You see it in abusive relationships, you see it in cults, and you see it in politics. Stretch people to the breaking point and then offer just enough relief to reset their tolerance. That intermittent reward pattern is one of the strongest forms of conditioning known in behavioral psychology. So when you see governments and party machines constantly cycling crisis relief, with big speeches in between, don't just look at the policies, look at what it's doing to your nervous system. Now, every time you bring up mind control and government, people roll their eyes and say, what is this, a sci-fi movie? Except we already have the receipts, folks. It was called MK Ultra. MK Ultra was a real illegal CIA program that ran roughly from the 1950s into the 1970s. Trying to find ways to control and alter human behavior. They experimented with huge covert doses of LSD and other psychoactive drugs on unwitting subjects, extreme electroshock therapy, sometimes 30 to 40 times the normal power, sensory deprivation, isolation, hypnosis, and other forms of psychological torture. Some experiments were run through universities and hospitals with hidden funding. Others were conducted in prisons and overseas detention sites. Victims came in with problems like anxiety or postpartum depression and left with permanent damage. Amnesia, incontinence, loss of speech, forgetting their own families, and imprinting on their interrogators as parents. This wasn't a conspiracy theory. Senate hearings, declassified documents, and mainstream histories will confirm all that the U.S. government spent millions to learn how to break minds and rebuild them. So anyone who says the government would never experiment with psychological control is either ignorant or lying. They already did. The only real question is, what does the new version look like? Today, they don't need to strap you down and pump you full of LSD. We carry the lab around in your pockets. Neuroscientists and ethicists already warning that a new brain computer interfaces and neurotech, things like brain implants and devices that read attention, come with a chilling caveat. If misused, they raise the same questions about mental privacy and self-determination that MK Ultra did, just with cleaner branding and better PR. Even without implants, social media algorithms do a kind of soft psychic driving, bombard you with the same phrases, the same images, and the same outrage over and over until your emotional baseline shifts. MK Ultra doctors literally played tape loops of simple phrases to patients in drugged comas for weeks to overwrite their identity. Now we voluntarily scroll short loops for hours while the platform optimizes for maximum emotional engagement. The old program uses forced drugs and isolation, and the new world uses dopamine hits, social pressure, and personalized feeds. Different tools, same objective. Shape perception, guide behavior, keep the subject from questioning the experiment. Now, add partisan politics. You're told that today's protests and social movements are totally organic from the people. Sometimes that's true. Sometimes it's a psychological operation with a hashtag, which is what the Democrats have been doing. Investigations have shown that supposedly spontaneous anti-Trump protests were underpinned by networks of around 198 Democrat-aligned groups with about $2.1 billion in combined revenue, including official Democratic entities, PACs, and activist nonprofits. Many of these groups brand themselves as nonpartisan while pushing openly anti-capitalist and anti-American rhetoric. Other reporting has traced how major Democratic megadonors and liberal foundations like George Soros, Bill Gates, the Rockefellers Jr. have financially supported, Neville Singham in China, have financially supported organizations behind highly confrontational campus and street protests, some of which are linked to explicitly socialist or pro-communist groups and Islamists. Is every protest fake? No. There are real grievances, absolutely. But when big money, party infrastructure, and ideologically aligned NGOs are all steering the outrage, you're not just looking at the people. You're looking at an info-op ecosystem that uses real emotions as fuel for someone else's agenda. What are they drilling into our kids and young adults in that environment? Police are inherently evil, capitalism as pure oppression, revolution as the only moral path, usually with a soft focus, romanticized view of socialism or outright communism. That's not spontaneous enlightenment, people. That's systematic indoctrination, constant messaging, emotionally charged images, and ready-made scripts that tell you young people exactly who to hate and what system to demand. So how do you tell if you're watching a genuine movement or a psychological operation dressed up as one? Here are 10 things to look for in the narrative. Number 1, instant identical slogans everywhere. When the same phrase appears on signs, shirts, and social feeds overnight, often using insider jargon, you're likely looking at centralized messaging, not organic language. Emotion first, facts later, if ever. The story is sold through outrage, horror, or sentimental clips with little room for nuance. If anyone raises data or context, they're treated as traitors, shut down. That's textbook emotional priming. Number 3, clear heroes as villains, zero complexity. One side is pure good, the other side is pure evil. Police are monsters, protesters as saints, or vice versa. Real life is messy, psyops prefer Marvel movie morality. Big money behind the grassroots. Number 4, follow the money. Huge foundations, partly linked groups, and wealthy donors quietly are underwriting logistics, legal defense, and media campaign. Number 5, media amplification that's weirdly selective. Pay attention now. Some protests get wall-to-wall coverage with sympathetic framing. Others, equally large, are ignored or demonized. That's not just bias, that's signal boosting chosen narratives while smothering others. Number 6, children and teens pushed to the front. Kids and college students are showcased as the moral vanguard. Meanwhile, the institutions, schools, universities, NGOs feed them simplified ideology about capitalism, cops, communism. Emotional shields plus long-term indoctrination. Number 7, no off-ramp, only escalation. Real movements negotiate wins and adjust. PSYOPs, they stay stuck in constant escalation. Not every concession is not enough because the goal isn't resolution. It's permanent destabilization. Scripts that excuse violence for the cause. Number 8. Now, destroying property, attacking police, or silencing opponents gets rationalized as necessary. That's conditioning people to override their own moral alarms in service of the narrative. Number 9. Simplistic economic promises. Scam Donnie. You'll hear abolish capitalism, free everything, and equity slogans with zero detail on how any of it works. Beyond tax the rich. That is not serious policy, people. That is recruitment into something much closer to the old dream of centrally planned economics. The thing that we used to just call communism. Number 10, anyone questioning it is labeled as an enemy. Ask who's funding it, you're a bigot. Point out contradiction, you're on the wrong side of history. PSYOPs must defend the narrative, not the truth. So dissent becomes a threat. to be punished, not a question to be answered. If you see 6, 7, or 8 of these boxes and you check them, you're not just watching history unfold, you're watching someone's psychological operation unfold. The lessons of MK Ultra isn't just they did bad things back then. It's that powerful institutions will experiment on human minds, chemically, socially, digitally, if they think it will give them control. Today, the tools are subtler, curate outrage, funded grassroots movements, endless crisis cycles, and ideological schooling that teaches our children to despise the police, hate capitalism, and romanticize systems that have historically turned into repression and poverty when they're actually implemented. The real resistance doesn't start with the protest sign, people. It starts with a disciplined mind. Question sudden synchronized narrative. Trace who benefits and who pays. Guard your hope. Make sure it's rooted in your own agency and real possibilities, not in promises designed to keep you on the hook. Because once you understand that your mind is the primary terrain of modern politics, you stop being just another target and start being what they fear the most. Someone they can't easily program. Thank you for coming to see me on God, Guns, and Dogs. I hope you have a blessed evening. Remember, no matter what life throws your way, you still have potential. God bless you, and God bless America.